Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
A poor man prayers,
every man bleeds.
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again. Lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again.
Under the Fair Use Act, these videos are for information and educational purposes, and I do not own the rights to any of these videos that are shown. All rights reserved to the original content creators.
Yo, 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 what's going on? It's your boy SL550, and this is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Today, today we're gonna talk about what's been going on. I'm late. A few days ago, Trump and his administration caught Maduro from Venezuela, and it's been a big story for the last couple of days. We're going to tap in with Trump doing a Q&A yesterday on this whole thing. He's answering questions from the media about this situation. Then Brian Maxwell goes into a deeper video because the Democratic Party is complaining and making it seem like what Trump did was a terrible thing. But yet, for some reason, Venezuela people are celebrating all over the world, bro. They're celebrating. They're telling Trump, thank you. So, and it's funny because you see these white liberals get out here and say, oh, we're standing with the Venezuelan people and we're with them. We stand with them. and the Venezuelan people aren't standing with them. They feel the opposite. They're actually excited that Trump did what he did because now they see freedom. They see a future. Come on, bro. You can't make this stuff up, bro. I don't understand how Democrats die on every hill, bro. I mean, God damn. Like, every single thing. They don't, it's like, what are they watching? What are they seeing? Where are they getting their information from? Because it's no way. It's no way, bro. Everybody sees this, bro. I see a bunch of people, Brian Maxwell, LV Nation, George Ace. Everybody is locking in on this story. And it's not adding up to what Democrats are trying to put out. It's just not. So, they crazy, bro. Hey, man. I don't feel bad for them, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, man, let's get straight into it, bro.
Mr. President, you said that the U.S. is going to run Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but that's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Mr. President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it, but we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. They stole our oil. We built that whole industry there. And they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So we did something about it.
Hey, yo, don't you want this from your president, though? I mean, if you take all the, oh, I don't like the way Trump speaks, he hurts my feelings. If you take away that part of it, I don't even see anything crazy that he be saying, but let's just say he does, right? If you take that away from it, everything that Trump is doing is to help America in the end. They're mad because he's exposing fraud in Minnesota, and these people that happen to be stealing billions of dollars happen to be Somalian and Muslim. How you think I feel? I'm Muslim. They make me look bad. I don't like it. It pisses me off. But at the same time, that's a Somalian problem. And who let these people into the country? And who helped them be able to even do these things? You're not going to sit here and tell me that Somalians who come from a shithole of a country, let's be honest, right? Known for piracy and all that stuff, known for being pirates and all that stuff. They let them come here, seek refuge, and within what, a decade, these people are already defrauding the government of billions of dollars. That doesn't happen by accident. This happens because it's being allowed to happen. When you see Tim Walz, right, and you see I don't even know his name, the other guy who's speaking Somalian and just they kissing ass to these people, right? Then they're the reason why these things are happening. This is not by accident. All of these things are by design, right? Tomorrow I want to get into a clip from Valuetainment. PBD had Stephen A. Smith on. They had a pretty good conversation that I want to get into. I'm trying to shorten my videos, so I didn't want to play it today, so I'm gonna play it tomorrow. But it's surrounding all of these different topics that's going on, and it was a good. I liked it because people are starting to speak how I want people to speak. Meaning, they're talking about, man, forget taxes. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about, how the government has been taking advantage of the American people for too long, and people are getting fed up about it. So it's a conversation that needs to be had, but more importantly, bro, things need to be done. Things truly need to change. And I like the fact that Donald Trump is actually doing things to go into that direction, bro. I mean, let's get back into it.
We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
Yes, it's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
That would run Venezuela?
Well, it's largely going to be, for a period of time, the people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others. We have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement.
I just hate, real quick, bro. I just hate the fact that, bro, our media, they're not in the business of, number one, making America look good. Trump is the president. Their whole goal is to try to make President Trump look bad. And that's a bad look on the country when you got your media and their whole. Like, listen, I'm not saying that the media shouldn't hold presidents accountable. I'm not saying that. But the fact of the matter is, dog, is that they die on every single hill. Venezuelan people are so happy. I seen videos of of people that's in this country on the ground that's saying they're ecstatic. Like, I'm talking about, they were ecstatic that this happened because they see an actual better future for their country. And Trump is the reason why this happened. It should have happened under Joe Biden, but it didn't. So now it's just hilarious because everything that these Democrats could have been doing, they don't want to. Why? Because they don't care about you, bro. They just don't. And this is what this all boils down to. They do not care about this country. We've seen it for 4 years straight. Them purposefully ruining the country. And now Trump not only has to run the country, do it and so effectively, but also clean up all of the garbage that Joe Biden, well, let's say Obama and everybody else but Biden, his administration did. He has to clean up all of that. And now that he's doing it, instead of them saying, yo, you know what, Trump is actually doing some good things. I may disagree with some, but at the end of the day, overall, inflation's down, grocery prices are down. I go grocery shop. I just went today. Bro, grocery prices are down, bro. They're down. People can say what they want, bro. It's down. Gas is down. I mean, it stinks. This is just year one. The fact that this dude, Donald Trump, did all of these things in just 1 year, and even Stephen A. Smith admitted it, that, listen, everything Donald Trump is doing, he ran on this. He ran on these things. People voted Donald J. Trump into office to do the things that he's doing right now. I mean, the only hiccup that I really seen was the Epstein files not being released in a timely fashion, but to me, you know, whatever. I'm kind of over that whole Epstein situation, bro.
For people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
Rubio would be. You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. He just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Mr. President,
long story short, bro, Donald Trump and the United States of America has interest in Venezuela, and they needed to be ran a certain way, and it's not up for discussion. So anybody that's going to be in power in Venezuela is going to be handpicked by the United States of America.
So Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So just what your message is about that.
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And, yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Mr. President, did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved in it.
Sure. We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional.
Yo, hold on, bro. My bad for keep cutting it off. But, bro, this is the president of the United States. Yes, things do have to be, ran a certain way. But let's be honest, bro. Let's be honest, bro. The Democratic Party is going to put a chokehold on anything that Donald Trump does, bro. So me personally, bro, fuck the Democratic Party. Fuck Congress. Fuck all that, man. At the end of the day, bro, this country was in terrible shape. Is going in the right direction in a lot of cases. But, bro, Donald Trump just needs to do what he needs to do, and that's that.
Notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest.
And just think about it. Just think about it, bro. And I'm sorry, bro, for keep cutting this off, but for a fact, if certain people find out about certain things that might happen in the future, right? A mission or something. That these people are going to sell Donald Trump out in his administration because their whole goal is for him not to look good at all. They want to make him look bad. And I wouldn't put it past them to call Maduro himself and say, hey, they're coming for you. You better get low.
Of two indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
Exactly.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result.
That's a fact.
But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, Come on, man. A lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. We weren't there. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
Exactly.
President, you were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know what a safe place is, all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. You know, people were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say on average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it. Go ahead, finish.
Where is Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact whereabouts?
Well, eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards. Did that weigh on your decision?
Well, that's when we had different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot, and we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. If we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses. Yeah.
President, can you? How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want the Venezuelan people to hold elections?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. You know, we're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow-up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. Can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country. Yeah.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when it comes to the oil and the drugs?
And Russia, Russia when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to get it. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now.
And you know what's funny, too? It's like nobody can sit there and say, because Joe Biden, you didn't see Joe Biden. Joe Biden came out when he was told to come out, and that was it. Trump is having meeting after meeting after meeting. They want to try to say he has Alzheimer's and all of this stuff, pushing all propaganda stuff. But this dude is on the front lines of every single situation that's going on in America, bro. You got to respect it, bro. I'm just saying, as far as presidencies go, right? This is what you want. You want transparency. You want your president to be honest. I don't know anybody who's as honest as Donald Trump. You want him to be honest, transparent, and you want him to get shit done. Period.
But I would say many more will come.
Now, are you saying, Mr. President, are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that?
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of Venezuela?
That you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country. And they destroyed it.
He's right. And I seen people, young people on the ground saying that they're excited. They want to get to work. That's exactly what they said, verbatim. I want to get to work. I'm excited about getting to work. and they want to build up their country, bro. They're excited about it. So my thing is this: I just wanted to play a little bit of this because the Democrats have been pushing like and trying to stir the pot and try to make it seem like this was a bad thing. Now I'm not in the government or nothing. I don't know the ins and outs of what the relationship is between America and Venezuela. But based off just the people, right? Who the people count, just like in America. Without the people, you have nothing. You have nothing. You have no government, right? So the people matter the most. And the people of Venezuela are ecstatic. And we're about to get into that. They're ecstatic, bro. And they think in Trump. So, everything that these people, every hill that these people die, like, I don't get it, bro. Like, what are they watching, bro? Like, what are these people watching? Like, you gotta know, bro. Look at this. Look, just off the rip, right? Shout out to Brian Maxwell. We're about to get into his video. Just look. Spain, in Venezuela, Argentina, Times Square, New York, Miami, like even over here. Venezuelans is going crazy everywhere. So you can say what you want. Americans can say what they want. Liberals can say what they want. But these people from Venezuela are ecstatic about this, bro. And let's get straight into it, because Brian Maxwell gonna break it down.
Now, on the heels of everything that has taken place in Venezuela with Maduro being captured and locked up, he's being indicted here in the United States for drug trafficking, for crimes against humanity, a lot. Now, one of the things that I want to point out, because President Trump put out a post today, and the post is so important because he shared a video clip. And President Trump doesn't really share videos. He shares posts of all his thoughts or whatnot, but never videos. And when you see the video clip that he posted, it's extremely important for every single United States American, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, to watch it, because there's something real going on. It's not a mistake that he went in and he got Maduro and then he posted this video clip. Now, prior to me getting into that, I want you to look at this. The fake news and Democrat politicians are furious at the video spread of countless major cities being flooded with real Venezuelans who love what Donald Trump just did, what he pulled off with Maduro. The white Democrat who loves Maduro is clueless. Look here. Spain, Madrid, in Venezuela. Matter of fact, let's
look at that, bro.
I mean, Argentina,
bro, look at
Times Square,
people, bro.
New York, Miami.
Bro, look at that, bro. They going crazy everywhere, bro. They going crazy because of what Trump did, bro. What Trump pulled off. So, bro, I don't be understanding why people still support the Democratic Party. Now, I'm gonna play this video tomorrow. And I just want to say something real quick. Stephen A. Smith was trying to pull off the whole conversation, making it, it's not just a Democrat thing, it's a Democrat and Republican thing. And we'll talk about it more tomorrow. But with Stephen, they don't understand is, dog, listen, bro. The last 5 years, I'm going to speak on the last 5 years, bro. The shit that the Democrats have been pushing have been straight demon shit. Like straight demon time. Satan shit. Like, abortion. They've been pushing that. Men and women's sports, like, bro, like everything, like they're pushing it in schools though. This is the thing, elementary schools, they're putting books that have like porn in it and stuff like that to children, to babies, your baby. You know what I'm saying? Like your kids go to school, you got to worry about teachers and and all these people pushing this garbage onto your kids. That's big deals, bro. It's a big deal, man. So the fact that Trump one, and I say that to say this, that yes, is there Republicans that are in the way, and Democrats? Of course, bro. Of course, the government needs to be strong. It needs to be less government. It needs to be a lot of them, Democrat and Republican, just gone out of the government in order for America to start being on the right path for real. But I see it on that trajectory, bro. It's on that trajectory, man. Seriously.
I mean, all over the place. Venezuelans are going crazy. And you know what Democrats are doing? They're literally like, how could Trump do that? You've got liberals, with everything you've shown on TV up there in New York, you've got liberals holding up signs saying, free Maduro. Now, how do you think that makes Hispanic people that have been under the oppression of a socialist dictator, who have lost family members, people have been in prison. Do you know a lot of those Venezuelans that are here, the reason why they were allowed here is because that was one place where we knew, okay, yeah, they're genociding over there. You know how many people have been crying now saying that they could go back? They haven't been back in the last 13 years since Maduro took power. But what does the Democrats do? Their Trump derangement is so outrageous that they're siding with a socialist murdering dictator just to be against Trump. And again, showing their hand. This 2026, I said it in other videos. I don't know if you saw it. 2026 is going to be a reveal, a complete mask off for the Democrat Party. For years, it's been building. And they've been able to shuck and jive people. And just layer by layer, people have been seeing like, damn, these people are nuts. And then when you go back through history and you look, they've always been this way. You go back to that 1964 civil rights that the Democrats hijacked and act like they so for the people. That's bullcrap. The longest filibuster we had in American history was because of the civil rights bill for blacks to get rights to vote. And do you know who filibustered it? It wasn't the Republicans. It was the Democrats. And it was the Republicans who decided to vote for it, kind of like a sticking it to the Democrats. But since LBJ was the president and the Democrats hijacked it, these folks, while the Venezuelans are singing and dancing and celebrating, you've got Democrats saying the way that they feel is wrong and Maduro should be released and allowed to go back and to rain his terror on the Venezuelan people. That's what the Democrats are saying. Now,
and that's a great point that a lot of black people don't even know, bro. That Democrats didn't want to pass the civil rights bill, bro. They looked at it like this was a thing that was going to happen regardless. Lyndon B. Johnson, after John F. Kennedy got killed, ended up being the president at the time. So it fell under the Democrats, right? But a lot of people don't know that Democrats, filibustered it. They didn't want it to pass. And just think about it, right? You got the Welfare Act and things like that. You have to not have a man in a home in order to get it. So, bro, this stuff is by design. They don't want you to prosper. People think they getting free food and they getting some food stamps and they getting Section 8. They think that they're, that the government is looking out for me. I get to live for free and stuff like that. But think about it. People don't look at it like, yes, you could work under the table, you could work the system and things like that. But guess what? You can never really build nothing. You can't start a business like that. You can't build your credit like that. So the things that you really need to establish yourself in America, you won't be able to get, and you'll always be at the bottom. You'll always be at the bottom, bro. And you'll be forced to do side hustles and things under the table that doesn't really build you up at all. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could work the system and live for free for 30 years. That's cool if that's how you want to live. If that's how you want to live, then hey, I guess you're successful. You know what I'm saying? But bro, just remember, bro, Democrats were part of the KKK. They were super racist. And they didn't want to end slavery. So black people, they love being Democrats and everything, but they don't even understand the history of the Democratic Party. It's not to say that there wasn't no racist Republicans neither. I'm just saying that Democrats stood on business when it came to not wanting to abolish slavery, by not wanting to pass the Civil Rights Act, and all of these things. All of that happened because of Republicans.
A video posted up, and I'm going to get into the Trump video because this is relevant to that. I'm not sure if y'all remember the great Lou Dobbs. Well, back in 2020, the great Lou Dobbs had a guest on, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with who Sidney Powell is. Sidney Powell is somebody who who Fannie Willis went after and actually prosecuted under the election interference case in Georgia, which we now know was BS, that 315,000 votes were added illegally. So what Trump and Sidney Powell and everybody was doing, fighting for the rights for votes to count and for illegal votes not to count, this interview from 2020, and there's a reason why I'm showing it. I want you to listen. I'm only going to play like the first minute of it because that's 14 minutes long. We're not going to play that. I'm gonna play like the first minute and a half because there's something I want you to hear because it's relevant to the clip that President Trump posted. It's extremely important. And I know the Democrats want everybody to forget and ignore what happened in 2020, but there's a reason why they want you to do that. Because if the people don't know what happened then, it'll be easy for it to happen again. And when the folks realize what type of coordinated coup this was on the United States president in that 2020 election, their jaws will drop out. So just listen to this, and then we're going to lead into what President Trump posted. And I want you to listen to the names that she stated. And I'm going to match it up with situations, indictments, and prosecutions that are already taking place right now. Check this out.
Our first guest tonight has new information regarding electoral fraud in the radical left's efforts to steal an election, and she charges 4 individuals as authors of what she calls a Pearl Harbor-style cyber attack on the 2020 presidential election. There are 4 names that she highlights. They are Jorge Rodriguez, the communications minister of Venezuela; Khalil Mazoub, Jorge Rodriguez's right-hand man; Gustavo Reyes Zumeta, who designed programs to rig election machines; and Antonio Mojica, the CEO of Smartmatic, an electoral voting corporation.
Now keep that name, Antonio Mojica, in your mind.
Joining us now is Sidney Powell, a distinguished attorney, former federal prosecutor, best-selling author, General Michael Flynn's defense attorney, and as we all know, a great American. Sidney, great to have you with us. You say these 4 individuals led the effort to rig this election. How did they do it?
Well, Lou, they designed and developed the Smartmatic and Dominion programs and machines that include a controller module that allows people to log in and manipulate the vote even as it's happening. We're finding more and more evidence of this. We now have reams and reams of actual documents from Smartmatic and Dominion, including evidence that they planned and executed all of this. We know that $400 million of money came into Smartmatic from China.
Now, if you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I'll never ask you for a cash app, a super chat, or a donation, but because YouTube has issued
the entire endeavor. Lord Malik Brown was part of it, along with the other people from Dominion. Eric Coomers, the person who also holds patents on some of the software and was operating out of the Denver office, I believe. We know that one of the Smartmatic people has went to Tarrant County, Texas, and turned that county blue after having been an executive with Smartmatic. And all of a sudden, this one election, Tarrant County is purportedly blue. We have evidence of how they flipped the votes, how it was designed to flip the votes, and that all of it has been happening just as.
And we wonder why Donald Trump has never admitted to losing in the 2020 election, bro.
We have been saying it has been.
Okay, now that's extremely important because you saw the first names, the first 3 people, really all of them are Venezuelan. Now, Eric Mojica, as of right now, has been indicted. As a matter of fact, the CEO of Smartmatic is being held in the Philippines because they did the same thing in the Philippines, but the Philippines weren't playing around with it. As a matter of fact,
I remember
check out the leader of the Philippines, as he rips into the Smartmatic CEO for lying and for interfering in their elections and making people get seated in positions of power that should have never been there, after lying to them, saying that there's no way that fraud can get through, and if fraud does get through, there's a footprint and you can easily track it. Check this out.
So what you're saying, what you're telling us is that the server is the one that dictates whether it will accept the message or not, irrespective of the time being used by the sender.
The server is not looking at the time, but rather the digital signatures and the contents of the package being generated by the people. So if the
but if that's the case, Mr. Chairman, what's the use of having a time as far as the PICO sender is concerned? What's the purpose of the time if that is immaterial?
The time gives you the sequence of the actions, and when you actually
if I may interrupt, as Congressman Gona says, if this sequence can be delayed to 10 in the evening, what the heck? My God.
Sir,
your assurance was that anything that happens between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. would be reflected as 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I didn't know that 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. could be moved to 10 in the evening. Do you realize what a fool you have made,
sir,
of the legislators who passed this law?
I understand, sir. With all due respect, it's an unforeseen situation. It's one
unforeseen?
Yes, sir.
That was the principal guarantee that this would be an honest election. That we would know digitally what would happen during election day and during the election hours.
And you do, sir, if I may.
No, don't forget that. The sons of bitches! You had us standing here guaranteeing to the public and the world that even if fraud is committed, we would be able to trace it. We never said that fraud could not be committed. But you said we could trace it, and now you tell me that at 10 in the evening you could do it and we would never know.
No, sir. I stand by our product, and we can trace everything that we do.
Okay, so now, as you see, these folks have been working in tandem a long time, because if you remember, Fox News was sued on the heels of all of the stuff that's taken place against Dominion, saying that the Dominion machines were shady, were sued to the tune of $1 billion. As a matter of fact, Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, invested $24 million to help to fund the lawyer fees to attack anybody who came out and spoke out against Smartmatic or against Dominion, the Venezuelan-based voting machines that all of a sudden the Democrats just fell in love with and they just had to have for their elections. And now we know why. Because you can literally change the votes in real time. So you got a person that thinks they're voting for this person, but if it's not who they want, can flip it. And none of the wiser. And guess what happens? When you print off the rolls, guess what it reflects? It reflects whatever that company wants it to reflect, not necessarily what was right. This is why Tina Peters, the 72-year-old woman out in Colorado that's serving prison time right now, that's why the Democrats hate her, because she saw what was happening with the voting, with the machines. She copied an initial roll to a hard drive. And what happened was later on that night, when the update happened, it cleaned off all of the information that was there before the update and only reflected what they wanted. Well, Tina Peters had the data on there showing what was there, and that pissed them off. So since she downloaded that information, she violated the Secretary of State's election integrity laws, and they put that woman in prison for exposing fraud. But they flipped it on her and said that she was doing fraudulent things because she didn't follow protocol. You know why? If she would follow protocol, there would have been no forensic evidence to prove what had happened. And then Colorado's Secretary of State was forced to come out and say that in Colorado, the passwords to their voting machines was literally listed on their public website. You heard that right. That's Colorado crazy. Had the passwords to their voting machines listed on their public website and said it was a mistake.
Secretary of State Jenna Griswold, thank you for your time today. So your office is acknowledging that you inadvertently leaked voting system passwords by putting them on your website. Colorado Republican Party says that this was more than 600 BIOS passwords for voting systems in all but one Colorado county. Is that accurate?
That is not accurate.
How many passwords and for which counties?
So a spreadsheet located on the department website improperly had a hidden tab with partial passwords. So I think that is really important. This is not the full password to access voting equipment. At this point, we had started an investigation and actually have people in the field that have been working on this issue.
When you say partial passwords, do you mean that it had one of the two passwords required to get into the system, or it did not even have one full password?
It had one of two, and not for all voting components, for some voting components in the state.
How many counties?
At this point, Kyle, we have staff in the field looking at the situation, but we will disclose after they're out of the field.
It was under a tab, and I think the tab was special files or projects, something like that. But it was on the public website, the passwords to their voting machines. So you tell me what's going on now. Into this clip with President Trump, he posted this from a X account called the Skiff. I actually go on the Skiff and look too, because these guys, they come with it. So let's check this out. Trump just posted this video about Dominion voting machine fraud. You think the timing is coincidence? A Venezuelan military intelligence whistleblower confirmed the CIA outsources election rigging technology to Smartmatic and Dominion from Venezuela. And again, President Trump doesn't typically share videos. So I felt like this was one I definitely want to share with the Patriots. So Patriots, I'm going to let this one show in full screen so we can all...
Bro, but real quick before you play that video, just look at how much fraud, bro. It's how much fraud, these rigged elections, just how much is coming out. And people, listen, people can say what they want, but it's not just hearsay. It's not like Donald Trump is just saying these things. He's backing it up with receipts from Doge, from whistleblowers coming out. There are people that the woman, I don't know if she's the same woman, but there was another woman too that was locked up too. They was locking these people up. Anybody that was exposing anything, they were locking them up. Just think about that. You were getting locked up for being truthful, for having integrity under the Democratic Party. Well, that's these people are crazy.
I'll get a full grasp of it, and I'll connect with you right after the clip is over. So check this out.
I found that there were about 25,000 ballots that were not printed from the official Dominion PDF ballot. In other words, the printing process, appearance, is completely different than what you would get from a first-generation PDF printing. We had approximately 25,000 ballots that were not created from the PDF that is used for the election process. So in other words, the election provider comes up with ballots, and it's specific to a geographical area, because the person that lives in this neighborhood might not be voting for the same people that live in that neighborhood or another neighborhood. So here in Maricopa County, from memory, you had 5,012 or something like that, just over 5,000 different permutations and combinations to the ballots. Then that's multiplied by 2 because there's a Spanish version that's available for each one of these ballots, but it's the same ballot with the same people, just in a different language. So we've got we'll just say 5,000 different ballots for now that are created ahead of time, and those are created in PDF. Now, the big reason why is that you have a third party send out mail-in ballots, so those have to be created in advance. And second, for your early voting, you have vote on demand. So in other words, even if I live way out in the corner of the county, but I work downtown, I could go to something downtown that could print my ballot from my area, and I could vote here. It's convenient. A lot of people do that. So these PDFs are created in advance. They're obviously good quality PDFs, and when they're printed, they should look roughly or exactly the same. In this group of ballots, I find that the quality is severely degraded from what a PDF would be as if printed on demand, or if printed by your third-party provider who prints these all the time. I'm Eric Spakeen. I'm a forensic chemist and a forensic document analyst. That means I deal with all aspects of question documents, when they were made, if they've been altered, changed, or added to, and how long ink has been on paper. I was asked if I had experience in election matters to look at primarily printing processes, machine copied marks, CPS code, which is a counterfeit protection system. And I said that I did, and I traveled to Arizona with 3 other people from my office that I had. Number one is that there were a series of ballots that I examined the photographs of. And Dominion, as the election subcontractor, produced ballots for each of the zones or districts that were involved, at least in the area that I looked at here in Maricopa County. And there were 5,000 approximately, a little over, different ballots. As you know, in a state, there could be 2 different senator races. There could be 10 different House races. And all the permutations and combinations is what gives you the 5,000. So they create a final ballot for each one of these districts or zones or regions, so that when you go in and you give your name and it knows you're from this area, you would get this ballot to vote on all the issues that pertain to you, and only the issues that pertain to you. And I found that there were about 25,000 ballots that were not printed from the official Dominion PDF ballot. In other words, the printing process, appearance, is completely different than what you would get from a first-generation PDF printing. As you can imagine, the lines are perfect. So they're perfectly straight, no breaks in them, the circles or ovals as they may be, and they're a solid line. When I examined some of the early voting ballots and election day ballots from various polling locations, there were about 25,000 that did not have printing from this perfect PDF,
no, I think millions of people,
but instead had breaks in all the same places around an oval. So you can look at one of the ovals and there are imperfections in the line, and they're in the same place on every single one of these ballots.
These 25,000 unidentifiable ballots alone represent over double the amount of Joe Biden's 10,457 vote mark.
In July of 21, actually before that, we told them in June. We told them that we suspected, from what we're seeing, 25,000 plus counterfeit, inauthentic ballots. That was early on in the process. Again, because of propaganda by the GOP's attorney, the GOP, other conservative operatives, they planted the seed inside this that you can't trust that, no, that's not it, etc. You'll hear more about it. But every one of the people up there knew this in advance, even of this hearing today. Now, the reason I bring that up is they had well over a year and a half to react to this, so it wouldn't be duplicated in 2022. But they didn't. They did nothing.
That's
and
crazy.
They allowed it. They enabled this to be done again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yo, man. Shout out to Brian Maxwell, bro. Yo, bro. You see what's going on, bro. Exposing everything, bro. It's no. So just think about it. All this time, Donald Trump has been right. He has been right about all of these different things for so long. For years, they have been trying to ask him, even during the debates. Do you stand by your decision to not, uh, you know, say that Joe Biden won the election? And he's no, and it's because he knew. He knew because of there were people, and I never even seen these videos. So these things have been came out, and he said they had well over a year and a half before the 2022. I'm assuming it's the midterms, before the election of the midterms in 2022 to fix the problem, and they didn't. Why? Because they wanted to repeat it again. This is why when Trump won in 2024, he had everything locked down. He had it locked down. He made sure that this election was going to be as fair as it could be under the conditions that was already there. And that was important because if not, they would have been able to do it again, bro. Yeah. Yo, bro. Only in America, man. All this time, just think about all of these different things that's going on. All of this time, bro, Trump has been right about everything. It's everything, bro. Just think about it. How can a Democrat, like, this is my thing when it comes to the Democratic Party, even if they have somebody that comes out, right? Nobody even knows really, right? Even if this person, you know, has all the components that is talking what everybody wants to hear, they're gonna have to have a track record, bro, in order to get elected, bro. At this point, with all of this information, because it's not just hearsay, it's not just speculative information. No, this is receipts, factual information. This was a whistleblower. This was a document analyst coming out, showing and telling you that this was over 25,000 ballots plus were rigged in the 2020 election, bro. And this is the reason why when Trump was leading and in that time period, I think they said between 12 midnight to 7 a.m. or something like that. It was something like that. Like he just shot up all of these because when everybody was asleep, everybody was home, when everybody thought, oh, the election, they still was counting, bro. And think about that too. If you look at 2020 and look at 2024, and in 2024, yo, bro, we knew Donald Trump was the president of the United States at like 9 o'clock, bro. Like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Because they couldn't get it off, bro. It wasn't gonna happen. And now all of this stuff is getting exposed, bro. People need to go to jail. They need to go to jail. It just is what it is. Anyway, man, I want to play this last John because I try not to watch the videos because I want to react to them. But I watched this one earlier. It's a good one. It's with LV. It's going over everything kind of what we've been talking about. But I liked that video with Brian Maxwell though because he kind of broke down this whole election thing and was bringing it to Venezuela. But if you want to check out the rest of that video to see how he closed it, you can go to his channel at Brian Maxwell on YouTube. But anyway, let's get into this next video and close it up with LV Nation.
Oh, yeah, no, I think millions of people, and I think she realizes that. I think Rachel Maddow realizes that millions of her viewers and the millions of people do not agree with her stance on any of this. And that's why she's panicking live on air. I got to show you this clip of her basically defending.
Yo, why do all of these liberals look the same, bro? They all got the glasses. If they're, I don't know what she is. I don't want to assume. But she got the shortcut. But just look at her, bro. Rachel Maddow is looking so bad, bro. She's she's starting to resemble as far as how they're aging. It's not looking good. Rosie O'Donnell. Only Rosie O'Donnell. Bro, look at her. Oh my God. She didn't look that
Maduro.
bad.
Meanwhile, millions are marching the streets celebrating that a dictator is out of the office. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what this is. Is she the queen of white liberal women? Is this it? Is this the usual suspects here that are constantly like, there's nobody more Trump deranged than liberal white women. I'm going to be very honest with you. I just don't know. Maybe surprise me. But here she is breaking down, spiraling because she knows that nobody is buying her BS. So there's also many clips of her saying that Trump will at some point team up with Maduro because Trump is a dictator. I mean, let's just take a listen to what she has to offer here.
In your heart of hearts, when you think about what the United States just did, I think there are very few Americans right now who have any idea why the United States did this. If this was about drug trafficking, then why did President Trump just pardon the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of sending hundreds of tons of drugs into the United States? If this was about something about the illegitimacy of Maduro's election, well, that's something that the U.S. is, decrying any other country policing. We just sanctioned Brazil for having tried to protect itself from a coup by its former president, Jair Bolsonaro. I mean, if it's about
guys, do you know this is what's crazy? She's not even holding accountable the Democrats. Do you know that Maduro got indicted in 2020? So Maduro was up for this no matter what. And during Biden's whole administration, they decided to do nothing about his indictment. And he was actually illegitimate during his administration along with Kamala, and they did nothing about it.
Nothing.
And now Trump is doing something about his indictment where he has to go and show up, and he did it without any casualties and going in and out. So why aren't you talking about that?
More importantly, why are you dying on this hill when literal Venezuelan people are ecstatic? They're grateful. These people are like so pleased with Donald Trump for doing this. And why are these white liberals mainly? Because they're the ones that be out here protesting all the time, to be honest. These white liberals is out of control, bro. They out here wasting time, energy, because they're paid, bro. They're paid. Let's be honest, bro. People like Rachel Maddow, she's paid. She's paid to say these nutball things. She's a nut. She's a nut, bro. It's nothing else to explain. Because if the people from this country aren't mad, they are not up in arms like, oh my God, we cannot believe Donald Trump just did this to us. They're actually the opposite. What the fuck are y'all talking about, bro? Like, bro, these people die on every single hill, bro. Everyone.
Why aren't you talking about the dictatorship of Maduro? But yet, let's continue.
Gangs. We had the president of El Salvador, who is believed by U.S. law enforcement to be very linked with the notorious gang MS-13, which has caused incredible damage in the hemisphere, including in the United States. He's invited into the Oval Office, and the president says that he's looking forward to sending homegrown Americans to that president's essentially, jungle concentration camps. So all of the purported explanations for what's happened here don't stand up to logical scrutiny. The president has never articulated a coherent rationale for having done this. This seems like Marco Rubio's dream, not Donald Trump's dream.
This seems like Marco Rubio's dream. She, though, again, crashing out. Their entire audience has been in the comments. If you go and read them on MS Now, they're trying to rebrand themselves from MS Now to MS Now from MSNBC. She also says that Bukele is a bad president. Bukele is linked to MS-13. He literally locked all of them up.
Everybody,
and they went from being the murder capital of the planet to now being one of the safest, if not the safest country in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, that dude was no joke. He wasn't playing with motherfuckers. He was locking motherfuckers up. For real.
By locking all of them up. So she is melting down and crying.
Just
but
look at her face.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you go and you actually look at Venezuela, boy, does this tell a whole different story. Here's a young man in Venezuela speaking to the news about how big of a story this actually is. Take a listen.
I hope you have your coffee when I tell you this, but these are great news. All eyes on Venezuela. These are historical news. This is history in the making. I mean, my chest, it feels like it's going to explode with joy. Everything that I can ask for. And, you know, I just want to tell you people, America, Venezuelans are good people. The greatest people that I know, I can vouch for them. We are good. We are working hard. And this is our, like, President Donald Trump and Maria Corina Machado just created an opportunity for us to begin working harder than ever.
Again, you hear,
bro, you see this dude? This dude is ecstatic. He can't even like get it out. That's how ecstatic this dude is, bro. And he's a young guy too. So they're in tune, bro. Even the young people over there are ecstatic about what's going on in Venezuela, and they see opportunity. Cause see, when you have a dictatorship, there and you live in a socialist dictator, environment, they control every single aspect of your life. Now, these people are now going to live in a more democratic, country where they have elections and just like we do, and they're going to be able to build it up and not have somebody just basically take all the resources and just give you little crumbs to just survive. And this is why they're ecstatic, bro. These people are grateful. So you have all these people trying to get in, and it's the thing. They'll go onto the street and have street conversations with regular, everyday Americans about what's going on. So they'll get in front of a white liberal, black liberal, whoever, and how do you feel about Venezuela? And it's like, oh, we're staying with Venezuela. We're so heartbroken for them people. We can't believe Donald Trump. And then you see this woman right here having an interview with a young Venezuelan man, and this guy is ecstatic, bro. Yeah, you can't make it up.
there's joy. You hear him thanking Trump. You hear all these millions of people coming outside, marching in the streets. I mean, I showed you in my previous video. You guys saw you saw the reaction. So Rachel Maddow goes on air, but she's been pushing this same stuff. You saw the reaction from an actual Venezuelan, right? And, then you have this, where in September of 2024, Rachel Maddow says Putin, Maduro, Trump, Kim Jong-un, and Xi Jinping are all the same. So what happened to this energy you had, right? She was basically saying that Trump was just like Maduro. So she made a list of all the dictators that are very bad for the world and are threats to America.
Yo, is it me or did she age like 10 years? What the fuck?
But for some reason, she's now changed her mind. She was comparing Maduro to Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un. Just take a listen to this.
Gives money to Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. And Xi Jinping sends a love note to Kim Jong-un today on his country's birthday. But they are all led by rulers who are all interested in staying in power for life and making sure that the people of those countries never rise up against the strongman form of leadership that keeps them under the boot.
Where is this energy? Where is this energy today?
A year ago,
Rachel, we need you back. You looked much better back in 2024, by the way. What happened to you in
Bro, why she aged 10 years in 1 year, bro? What the fuck?
2023. I mean, this is crazy.
TDS is so real, bro.
What happened? She looked like a little, you know what I mean? Like a little joint. Like, maybe not. I mean, that's not my type, by the way. Don't like these short haircuts. But this is like a year and a half ago. What is this? Like, what happened? Man, the Trump derangement jokes are played out, but boy, is this what it looks like? Anyways, so what happened to that energy?
Yo, bro. I thought that shit, bro. TDS is a real thing. Like, people genuinely have this, bro. Like, they have it. Like, look at her, bro. She aged 10 years. What the fuck? Look at Rosie O'Donnell, bro. These people look sick. They're sick, bro.
Energy, well, it's gone. Yeah. And it's been gone for some time now. And it's crazy because I found this video, and I have to. Oscar L. Blue, he was talking about, I know he was directing this at people just like Rachel Maddow, right? Again, white liberal women. And man, what he says here, you guys got to listen to this. Right directed at Rachel Maddow.
This Marxists in the United States of America, they talk about socialism and they talk about communism. And a lot of these Democrats sitting down in the U.S. office, me as a Mexican, I can tell you, all these white privileged liberals, they have never lived in a third world class country. They have never lived what we have lived. They have never experienced narco-terrorism, dismembered bodies, decapitated heads, extortion, kidnappings, missing women and missing people, extraction of organs. They have never experienced what is a dictator in a regime transforming out of socialism. And in your political language, it is all the fault of the sanctions and the embargo. All of that, that's what you use. But you don't come over here to the main place and try to cross that border. I don't see you doing that. I'm walking right now on the border of Simón Bolívar, where millions of migrants from Venezuela on an exile and on an exodus, they left their country because of necessity, because of the regime, and because of the dictator, Nicolás Maduro, Diosdado Cabello, and Padrino López. Because of those three, they control the fractions of Cartel de los Soles, Tren de Aragua, and all the regimes. They have basically destroyed the peace of the Venezuelan people. All of you that you pandered to the narco regime of Nicolás Maduro, you have never walked the Darien Gap and suffered the consequences as the Venezuelan people have. But you advocate for a dictator, and you advocate for a guy that is basically punishing and torturing their own people. Right here, I'm standing in the middle of this bridge, where is the limitations between Venezuela and Colombia. I'm going to go all the way to the limitation. So you will have the gall challenging you, the white progressive mercenary liberal that is advocating for Nicolás Maduro, Padrino López, and the dictator Diosdado Cabello. I'm challenging you to cross this line with your white privilege liberal agenda. I'm challenging you to come over here and have the balls to cross over here and see what happens to you with this dictator. Just
man.
Yo, shout out to LV Nation, bro. Always bringing it, bro. I just wanted to play that real quick because mainly, guys, I wanted you to see firsthand. I mean, obviously, Brian Maxwell, he had he had the highlight of all the different places that were celebrating this whole situation. But I wanted to also show somebody that was in Venezuela, talking proudly about what was going on, man. And I had to bring that, man. I'm late with it. I'm mad. I had some stuff going on yesterday. I had to let my wife do her thing. But this stuff, bro, they're excited about it, bro. And hey, I don't see nothing wrong with it. If the people there is ecstatic, and you seen the guy him talking about the problems that they've been having, and this has probably been going on forever. So they see some real things about the change there possibly, and you see what Trump said, man. They running it. They running the show. So hey, we'll see what happens with that, man. But yo, bro, I don't know what people need to see, right? I do this. I want to get into more different content, of course, but this stuff is interesting to me, man, because these people have the power to change laws and do things that really change the trajectory of a country, bro. This stuff is wild shit, bro. That's why it's interesting. It's interesting to me. It may not be interesting to everybody else, but it's interesting to me, and it matters, but it really does. I hear a lot of my people always talk about, man, that shit don't matter, bro. They gonna pick who they want to pick, and this, that, and the third. I believe that up until Donald Trump, bro. You know, I'm not trying to glaze Donald Trump or nothing. I'm just saying, speaking on, him and what he's doing and the things that he said. This is the first time in my entire life that I ever watched a campaign. My entire life, I'm 36 years old. I've never watched a campaign trail. Well, maybe a little bit of it, but I wouldn't say I focused in on it, but I've seen Obama. We all did. Everybody was amazed. Oh, he spoke so eloquently and all of these things. But besides Obama, and I can't even really say I watched the whole thing, but I did see him speak. Donald Trump was the first campaign that I actually watched, and it's the first time I watched the Republican and the Democrats. Like I watched the DNC, I watched Kenan Thompson, speak. I seen Oprah and Michelle Obama. I seen everybody speak at the DNC. I watched it. You know, they were talking about Project 2025 the whole time. And, you know, Trump, honestly, bro, he changed politics forever, bro. Because, listen, everything he's saying is right. The fake news, the rigged elections, all the fraud that's going on, draining the swamp, like everything that he's been saying, bro, it's been true. And it's very, 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 you know, important for us to start getting in tune with what's going on, bro. And I think a lot of people, especially young people too, really are. And I think the number one thing though for a lot of, I'm just saying overall, like Americans, especially young Americans, I think the biggest problem that they have with the government is the whole relationship that we have with Israel, which is a big deal. And I think if that relationships becomes just Israel, the United States, and we're not paying them billions of dollars and doing all of this nonsense that we have, you know, with that relationship, I think that people in America, including young people, can start having more faith into the government because people are going to get more involved because they see how important it is for locally, federally, for us to go out here and vote the right people in to get the job done, bro. And that's the only way things are going to change. You know, but I think by the end of Trump's 4 years, bro, things you know, and then they have you got JD Vance. You already see JD Vance is going to be the one that's up next. So knowing that, that's a good thing. You know, he's sound. You know, this guy is, you know, Trump's vice president. You know, talks what people want to hear, and we know that he's going to be transparent and do the things he's going to do, and he has a track record to prove it. Whereas though on the other side, bro, who is going to run the Democratic Party? Gavin Newsom? What? He's the front runner? Okay. Yo, people got faith in that if they want, man, but these Democrats are crazy, bro. The things they pushing is outrageous, man. And I'm happy that it's changing. It's changing for the good, man. You know, if you like the video for today, though, man, make sure you hit that like button, share the video, also comment on the video. Let me know what you think about it. If you disagree, agree with anything, also hit that subscribe button for me. I'm on the road to 1K subscribers, and without you, I can't get there. So make sure you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time your boy go live. This your boy SL550. This is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Until next time, I'm out. Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again. Lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again.